Welcome to our live, which I already explained in the previous lesson, but it shall be. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe a competitive market, explain the influences on demand, explain the influences on prices, quantities bought and sold, demand and supply model, make predictions. So first things first, you find that they should be demand and supply are usually linked with the market and their price, enables buyers and sellers to get information and do businesses with each other. So it's an arrangement between the buyers and sellers, whereby they get information and do business with each other. And a competitive market is a market that has many buyers and many sellers, so no single buyer or seller can influence. We have some few definitions like money price. What is that? It's the money price of a good is the amount of money needed to buy it, and the relative price of a good is the ratio of its money price to money price of the next best alternative good. That is the opportunity cost. So we had looked at demand, and we had said that if something we want, we can afford it, and we have made a definite plan to buy. Then say that thing is a service amount that consumer plan to buy during a particular time period and at a particular price. So there is a law of demand that says that other things remain the same constant. The higher the price of a good, the smaller is the quantity demanded, and the lower the price of a good, the larger is the quantity demanded. It's just obvious. You go to the shop, for example, even for rice, one that sells me a kg at 60 shillings, and another one sells kg at 130 shillings. When do you think most people will buy? They'll mostly go for the one at 60 shillings, more affordable, especially for cakes and some milk. So you're saying that the price is high, but the smaller quantity demanded. So for the higher quantities, we find that fewer people will buy it, or it is high in cost. So the law of the demand actually from substitute how can have. So with the substitution effect, the opportunity services rises, the people substitute for it, so the demand of goods or services decreases, like the case I've mentioned, and the income effect, as good or service rises are relative to income. People cannot afford all things quickly, so the quantity demanded of the good or service also increases. Meaning add money, then you get to change worth 130 or 150 shillings. Now you will go to one of less quality and
You are currently the only person in this conference.
have clear diagrams about the demand curve, and be able to go through that, so that you'll find that if there is a rise in demand, there'll be when the prices go up, the demand is likely to decrease, and when the prices go low, the demand is likely to go up. That is basically what is explained in a nutshell in those curves. When there's a change in demand, we usually have 6 main factors that will contribute to change in demand. One, the prices of related goods and also expected future prices, the income, we talked about it, expected future income, credits, and also population and then their preference. So when you talk about the prices and related goods, we have it that we do have substitute goods. So what is a substitute good? It's a good that can be used with another good. So for example, we get back to rice because I think it's one of the best examples you can use in this context. Or assuming sugar, you find is momia sugar, is cabras, those branded sugars, and sometimes you may just go and find that those packed without any label, or maybe some have been packaged by the specific vendors or the supermarkets. So if you go there and you find that the one packaged by the supermarkets or doesn't have a label, it's still sugar, but has a low price by about 10 or 15 shillings to cabras or momias or shemili sugar, which one are you likely to go for? Depending on the money that is there, and not the same good, you're likely to go for the one with a lower price. So that is called a substitute good. A complement is a good that is used in conjunction with another good. So in the price of substitute, for example, with sugar or energy bar, assuming energy has rises, or when the price of energy bar falls, the demand for the energy bar increases. Demand, we also talked about its impact that would affect the pricing and demand as expected future prices. So if the expected price of a good rises, the current demand for the good increases and the demand curve shifts rightward. And with income, when income increases, consumers buy more goods and the demand curve shifts rightward also. And a lot of good is learned for which demand also increases, but an inferior good is a good for which demand decreases as income increases. So about the expected future income and credit, that's the fourth factor. You find that when expected future income increases, or when credit is easy to obtain, the demand might increase. And with the population as the fifth, the population, greater is the demand for all goods. And about preferences, people with the same income have different demands if they have different preferences. So again, we do have some diagrams that will help show you that if this happens, whether the curve shifts to the right or to the left. If it goes to the right, there is an increase in demand. Now we can look at supply. And what is supply? What does supply mean to you? That we try to introduce that term in our previous class. And we say that if a farm supplies a good or service, then the farm has the resources and technology to produce it. It can profit from producing it and has made a definite plan to produce and sell it. So we do have the resources and technology that determine what it is possible to produce. So the supply reflects a decision about which technologically feasible items can be produced. The quantity supplied of a good then would mean it's the amount that producer can sell during a given period at a particular given price. There is all the law of supply, the same we had the law of demand, and the law of supply that other things remain the same. The good, the greater is the quantity supplied. The higher the price of a good, the greater is the quantity supplied, and the lower the price of a good, the smaller is the quantity supplied. The law of supply results from the general tendency for the marginal cost of producing a good or service to increase quantity produced increases. We find that producers are willing to supply a good only if they can at least cover their marginal cost of production so that they can get a profit. So the term supply therefore means the entire relationship between the quantity supplied and the price of a good. The supply curve shows the relationship between the quantity supplied of a good and its price when all the different producers' planned sales remain the same. So we do have examples again of the supply curves in our notes. I'll not go through them so that when we meet in the next class, you can be able to ask questions where needed. And you find that with a supply curve, it also means supply price curve. The quantity produced as the quantity produced increases, the marginal cost also, because remember we've mentioned the marginal cost, whereby the suppliers have to know that they are able to cover that. So again, just like demand, the supply chain, in terms of supply, the changes are usually triggered by 6 main factors. One of them is the price of factors of production, and also the prices of related goods produced, expected future prices, the number of suppliers, technology, and state of nature. So looking at the change in quantity, we'll find that there'll always be the movement of the supply curve depending on what is needed and those factors we mentioned. So when the price of a good changes and other has influence on sellers' plans remain the same, usually you find that the quantity supplied changes and there is a movement along the supply curve. So there will be a movement upwards by increase in the quantity supplied, and there will be a movement to the lower side of the curve when there is increase in quantity. So with that at the back of our minds, maybe we can briefly look at the market equilibrium, because we've said that all these issues to do with demand and supply are related to the markets and pricing. Equilibrium is a situation in which opposing forces balance each other. Equilibrium is a market occurs when the price balances the plans of buyers and sellers. So the equilibrium price is the price at which the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. And the equilibrium quantity is the quantity bought and sold at the equilibrium price. So we have the price that regulates buying and selling plants, and also price adjusts when plants don't match. We do have market equilibrium, whereby there is when there's a surplus of the goods provided and the demand of energy, as there will be an equilibrium. So with market equilibrium, you find that they usually price adjustment. So at any price above the equilibrium price, a surplus forces the price down. At any price below the equilibrium price, a shortage forces the price up. So there's usually equilibrium where the demand and supply should be okay. So in case there's mass production, for example, like we have a lot of waru, the Irish potatoes, you find the price starts dropping because there's surplus in terms of supply and its production. So when the surplus is high, you'll find that the prices will also go down, and the vice versa. And that will apply even in medication. Sometimes you find when there's a lot of supply of given medication in the country or in the pharmacies, the prices are likely to drop or be at a specific price that is not too high for the consumers, unlike when the demand of something is high and depending on its quality. So we do have the figures that are showing us like how we can predict changes in the price and quantity. For example, an increase in demand. We have a figure there that will show us that when demand increases, the demand curve shifts right. But when it decreases, the demand will shift leftward. Expected. So at the original price is now a shortage, and the price rises and the quantity supplied increases along the supply curve. So how do you predict changes in the price and quantity? Again, we do have a figure that will help us understand the increase in supply, that when supply increases, the supply curve shifts to the right, and the original price, there is now a surplus, and the price falls and the quantity demanded increases when the demand curve, along the demand curve, sorry. Yeah. So you have that. What I would want to is just to go through the curves and the explanations that are laid there, so that we can have a better understanding of the demand and supply. And in case you have questions, feel free to interact during our class, and I know that you shall be helped. That is it for today. All the best.